The first time I saw the bright orange violation notice stuck to my door, I thought it was a joke. Unauthorized pool usage, fine $500. I actually laughed. I had just moved into the Crestwood Lakes community, neighborhood where the grass had to be exactly 3 inches tall. Mailboxes had to be beige, and apparently, pool access was treated like a federal crime. And at the center of all that control stood Karen Mitchell, the self-appointed queen of the HOA. Platinum blonde hair, big sunglasses, and a clipboard so tight under her arm, it might as well have been a badge of honor. She lived 3 houses down, and I swear she patrolled the street more than the actual police. When I walked to the pool that morning, she appeared out of nowhere like a shark smelling blood. "Excuse me," she snapped, blocking the gate. "Pool keys, please." I raised an eyebrow. "You mean these?" I dangled my keys. She squinted at them. "Those are not HOA-issued keys. We've had unauthorized copies floating around." I smiled, cool and calm. "Don't worry. I got mine through official channels." She wasn't satisfied. She whipped out her phone and started taking photos of me, muttering something about evidence. I knew what she didn't. I was here for evidence, too. My name wasn't really Jack Miller, and I wasn't just a quiet new neighbor. I was Agent Cole Anders, FBI Special Investigations. For months, the Bureau had been tracking suspicious financial activity tied to local HOAs across the state. Massive sums disappearing into maintenance funds. Crestwood Lakes was on top of that list, and Karen was its treasurer. So yeah, I had a reason to smile. That afternoon, I got a knock on my door. When I opened it, a tall man in a police uniform stood there. His badge caught the sunlight. Officer Brad Mitchell, Karen's husband. "Evening," he said coldly. "Got a report of an unauthorized resident accessing private HOA property. Mind handing over those pool keys?" He wasn't just here as a cop. He was here as Karen's enforcer. I crossed my arms, feigning confusion. "You're really here over pool keys?" He smirked. "We take security seriously here, Mr. Miller." Inside, I was recording everything. The Bureau needed proof that Karen was using her husband's badge to intimidate residents. What they didn't know yet was that I was about to blow this whole operation wide open. Officer Brad Mitchell stood on my porch like he owned it, one hand on his belt, the other hovering near his holster. Classic intimidation. Behind him, Karen watched from her golf cart, pretending to scroll her phone but grinning like a cat watching a trapped mouse. "Let's make this easy," Brad said. "Just hand over your keys, and we won't have to make this official." "Official?" I repeated, raising an eyebrow. "Overswimming?" He leaned in closer, lowering his voice. "You'd be surprised what we can make official." That's when I noticed something interesting. His radio was turned off. No dispatch, no backup, no record of this visit. It wasn't an official police stop. It was harassment disguised as one. I smiled politely. "Let me grab the keys," I said, then stepped inside and closed the door. The moment the latch clicked, I turned on my body cam feed. "And we're live," I muttered. The signal blinked green. My audio and video were streaming directly to the FBI field office. On the porch, Brad's muffled voice said something to Karen. I heard her laugh. "He'll learn who runs this neighborhood." Oh, I was learning plenty. When I opened the door again, I held the keys up, but not to hand them over. Instead, I took a photo of Brad holding out his hand. "Smile," I said. "For documentation." His jaw tensed. "You think this is funny?" "Actually," I said, "I think it's evidence." Karen's smile dropped. She jumped off the cart and stormed up the steps. "You can't take pictures of HOA officials," she barked. "You're not an official," I replied calmly. "You're a neighbor, and right now you're trespassing." Brad's voice hardened. "Watch your tone." I stared him dead in the eyes. "You first, officer." He froze. For a moment, he didn't know how to respond because he realized I wasn't afraid. That's the thing about undercover work. Once they think they have control, that's when you flip the script. Later that night, I wrote my first field report. The Bureau confirmed Karen and Brad's names were linked to an HOA, fund transferring large maintenance fees to a private account under Mitchell Property Services. That wasn't just misuse of funds. It was federal-level embezzlement. The next step of the sting? Gain access to the HOA's restricted files, the ones Karen kept locked in the pool office. But the next day, when I approached the gate, I noticed something new. A big red sign, pool closed, investigation in progress, by order of HOA president. And right under it, in thick black marker, someone had written, "Nice try, Jack." The next morning, I woke up to chaos. Someone had plastered flyers across the neighborhood. Warning, suspicious man in Crestwood Lakes. Goes by Jack Miller, may be impersonating a resident. If seen near the pool or clubhouse, report immediately to HOA security. And at the bottom, in neat cursive, was a signature that made me laugh out loud. Karen Mitchell, HOA president. Classic Karen move. Turn the neighborhood into her personal army. By noon, I couldn't even step outside without someone peeking through their blinds. The retired couple across the street whispered behind their hedges. Even the mailman avoided my eye. She'd turned everyone against me overnight. Fine, two could play that game. I drove down to the community clubhouse, parking a few houses away so Karen wouldn't see me on her ever-present security cameras. Inside, the pool office was locked, of course. But I didn't need a key. I needed access. I knelt near the side window, slipping out a compact device that looked like a phone charger. A few clicks, and the Wi-Fi signal analyzer blinked green. Within seconds, I was inside the HOA's private network. Folders popped up. HOA Finances 2025. Board meeting records. Security footage. And there it was, the smoking gun. Thousands of dollars in pool maintenance. Payments funneled directly to Mitchell Property Services, LLC every month. But before I could copy the files, I heard the crunch of tires behind me. Karen's golf cart. I froze. The faint buzz of her voice echoed. She was talking to someone on speakerphone. "Oh, yes, he's snooping again. Brad's on his way. We'll handle it like last time." Last time? My pulse kicked up. I didn't know what that meant, but judging by her tone, it wasn't good. I barely had time to close the laptop when the door burst open. Brad stormed in, hand already on his taser. "Step away from that computer," he barked. I raised my hands, calm as ever. "You know, this is starting to look like abuse of authority." Karen followed behind him, smug as ever. "No, this is enforcing HOA policy." Brad cuffed me, snapping the metal tight. "You're under arrest for trespassing on private property." Karen smirked. "Guess you won't be using that pool after all." I let them take me, because the moment his handcuffs clicked, the GPS tracker in my belt buckle activated. FBI headquarters now had my exact location and live audio of everything. As Brad shoved me into his cruiser, I smiled to myself. The sting wasn't over, and it was just beginning. Brad drove fast, like he was trying to scare me into silence. The cruiser's radio stayed off, again. He didn't want dispatch knowing what he was doing. Karen followed behind us in her golf cart, her phone up, recording every second like it was her victory parade. "You really thought you could play games with us?" Brad muttered. I smirked. "Oh, I'm not the one playing." He didn't respond, but I could tell from his clenched jaw. He knew something was off. We stopped behind the clubhouse, far from public view. He yanked me out of the car, pushed me toward the pool gate. "You want your pool key so bad?" he said. "Let's finish this here." Karen arrived seconds later, stepping out like a reality TV villain. "Smile, Jack. I'm filing this footage with the HOA board. You'll be banned from this neighborhood for life." I looked around. 3 security cameras aimed right at us. Perfect. Brad shoved me toward the fence, his tone dark. "You don't belong here." And that's when I decided it was time. I exhaled slowly, letting the silence stretch before I spoke. "You know," I said, "you really should have kept your police radio on." Karen frowned. "What are you talking about?" I met Brad's eyes. "Because right now the FBI is listening to every word you two just said." He froze. "What?" I nodded at the tiny device still blinking inside my cuff. "Live feed. Audio, video, location, all transmitted to the Bureau." Karen laughed nervously. "You're bluffing." That's when 3 black SUVs rolled up at once. Engines roaring, lights flashing blue and red. FBI agents spilled out, weapons drawn, voices commanding. "Federal agents, hands where we can see them!" Karen stumbled back, stunned. "Wait, what?" Brad's face went pale as 2 agents grabbed him, pulling his hands behind his back. I straightened up as an agent unlocked my cuffs. "Nice timing, guys," I said. Agent Lewis, my partner, smirked. "We got everything, Cole. The fund transfers, the harassment, even the threats." You wrapped this one up clean? Karen looked between us, horrified. FBI? You mean he's... I pulled my badge from my pocket, flipping it open. Special Agent Cole Anders, Federal Bureau of Investigation. And Karen Mitchell, you're under arrest for conspiracy, fraud, and obstruction of justice. Her voice cracked. You tricked me. I shrugged. You made it easy. As the agents led them away, I glanced at the pool. Calm, quiet, reflecting the sunset. The whole neighborhood peeked out from behind their blinds, whispering in disbelief. By the next day, Crestwood Lakes was free of its tyrant HOA president. The board voted to dissolve the HOA entirely. And me? I finally got to use the pool, this time without anyone watching. As I floated under the evening sky, I couldn't help but smile. Karen thought she ran the neighborhood, but she never realized she was swimming with the FBI all along.